This is what Female Wave of Change is all about. It's about using our feminine values and our feminine energy to make this world a better place for each and every one. For you, for your family, for the community and the world. A more sustainable world, a world based on human values, where we empower people and act from our heart. A world where each and every person has the same opportunities to step into their leadership and take the responsibility of their future. A world where we build bridges instead of walls. A world where we collaborate, we share and we care. A world based on trust, respect, tolerance and compassion. A world where we do not fight the old, but where we create the new. A world where we can be our authentic self. A world without hunger or poverty and where each and every child can go to school. A world where we celebrate diversity. Now, a little over 1 year after the start of Female Wave of Change, we are represented in almost 25 countries. It is amazing what we have seen happening. If we really start connecting and collaborating, I think that we can speed up the process and create that better world together. We are building this movement where women from all walks of life and from all over the world connect, share knowledge and experience, and where we embrace change and transform it into new opportunities together. New businesses, new NGOs, and new projects. I believe that powerful women are the architects of change. I believe that if we really start using our feminine values and our feminine energy, we can create a better world for everyone. Our plans are big. Some may say I'm a dreamer, but you know, I'm not the only one. I always think if it's not us changing the world, then who? And if it's not now, then when? Together we are making change happen. Well, that's enough for me. Let's create some waves and have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here.
My first experience on television was a professor telling me that this space is not for entertainment. Women like you do not belong here. What do you know about politics? But politics is us. It's us every single day. How we make ends meet, why we work so much, where we work, who we're working for, and what we're building. So it is us. So we had to own that space, even though we were being told it didn't belong to us. So I would read, but not just read, overread. When I felt that I didn't know enough, find more information to know even more. So when I would have conversations with men who are twice, 3 times my age, and they would start conversations, you know, before you were born, this is what happened in our country. I was a student back then. But because you have researched so much, you can go back and quote the 1963 Majimbo Constitution to him and say, I know what you went through because I researched. So for us, it's just being in those conversations, because at the end of the day, we find that a lot of women, young women, have the solutions. But unfortunately, they are not in decision-making processes. So it's about pushing those barriers and forcing your way through.
At the family level, not many parents, especially fathers, socialize their daughters to consider politics as a career option as they would their sons. So my father was quite uncomfortable with the idea of her only daughter vying for a seat. And you know, there are times he'd tell me, tell me, do you know any other girls like you who've actually run a successful campaign and won? Not just run and people know about you, as in they ran a successful campaign in their 20s and won. And I didn't even have any example, because, as in young women below 35 make up for 1% in this country, below 35. So I didn't have any example. And my mother thought it was quite disrespectful that you should put your school on hold and you're being sponsored to even be in school in the first place, to run for a seat because you want to bring about this change in the community?
My forte is writing about politics. I decided to go into writing about politics because for many years my editors used to send me to Pumwani maternity to cover women giving birth on Christmas Day maybe. To cover female genital mutilation in Kajiado. Yeah, in newsrooms, that is what women journalists face. It has changed a bit, but still we have those problems and challenges in our newsrooms. It's a man's world, even in the newsrooms. So women, if you don't stand up for your rights or stand up for yourself and look inwardly, am I really just about Pumwani maternity? Is there nothing else I can do with my journalism? In the School of Journalism, you are not just taught about women should be covering women issues. When women parliamentarians are having meetings, you are sent there because you are a female journalist. When there is maybe a gender meeting, they always say gender meetings are for women, but it's not true.
I live in Kibera, but I always find myself on global platforms. I can't count the number of countries I've traveled to. I go there but still come back to Kibera. Many don't understand why I still come back to Kibera. In 2016, I was in the US for 4 months, and I met a few Kenyan sisters. They got together and came to me, and they knew I was from Kibera. And you know what they told me? They didn't even know how I got myself there and everything, but what they told me is that, you know what, my sister, you can't struggle to come all the way and go back to Kibera. We will help you to settle here. And then I told them, you know what, I'm going to think about it. But the truth is, my home is here. My work is here. My family are here. So whenever I go, I think of home. Whenever I travel to bring back whatever is good out there back home and back to my community. So I love my work in Kibera. I love my family in Kenya. And I love seeing women together.
Women are the ones who run Kenya, I believe. In terms of, there's nothing that can happen, not a funeral, not a wedding, not anything without the women of that community. The people who started building cottage industries, in Nyeri it was, or in Kikuyu land was pipes, water pipes to get water into the community. It's the women who got together in women groups and started donating to build to have water pipe projects to get. In places like Machakos, it's cotton industries, they weave baskets. Every community is the women who get together. We are fantastic organizers and we are fantastic collaborators. I think it's a myth from a few men, those who are not strong enough in themselves, who fear that if we get our power and we understand how powerful we are, they fear that we might revolt and make them irrelevant. But it's not true. Because we're the ones who nurture them, we bear them. But they have this fear. If I let that woman who I know is so powerful, what will happen?
The world is changing and progressing so rapidly for you in your country and for us in South Africa. What is interesting about Kenya for us is that you are the top technologically advanced country in the continent. You beat a whole lot of us, Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Egypt. Kenya is taking the lead in this space. And this change is impacting and affecting on all of us. Our children are now learning from devices and platforms that those of us who were in school many decades ago would never have thought and dreamt about being schooled in that manner. However, as we witness this progress, the question is always being asked, where are the women? The statistics about the lack of women in influential roles and positions is continuously being highlighted. If you look at companies like Cisco, Google, and Facebook, who have only in the last 10 years made critical appointments in their organizations of women from our continent. it is important that for the women of South Africa and Africa as a whole, whilst we are continuously being faced by many, many challenges at home, in our communities, in the society, and sadly, still in the workplace, we need to start pushing forward to connect with other women across the country, the continent, and the globe as a whole. By now we know that for the change that we want to see to take place, we are the ones who need to step up, which is why I like the motto of Female Wave of Change. If not us, then who? If not now, then when? It's that the wave cannot, and we dare not, and we cannot allow for this wave to go past us. You know women that live in other countries, that you work with in your communities and organizations that are based in other countries. We want to connect with them. We want to take this message here that we've been speaking about in terms of women taking responsibility for their future and making the future their own. We want that message to go to Uganda. We want the message to go to Zambia. We want the message to go to Mali. We want the message to go to Somalia. We want the message to go to Namibia. We want the message to be in Ghana. We want it to be in Morocco. We want it to be in Nigeria. All the 52 countries that we have in the continent, we want this message to go through. Because we believe that as women in Africa, the more we connect, the more we get this message out there, the more this continent will be the kind of continent that we want to be for our children, for the future generations, for even the generations, 10 generations down the line.